What's up YouTube? My name is Lucky and this is Automotive Life. Today's video is all about flipping cars. Now, I get a lot of messages asking me what's my top tips for flipping cars, what are some of the things I do to try to make as much money as I can. So I've shown you in a few other videos, but today I just wanted to talk a little bit about it more in detail to give you guys a better example. So this way, if you're just starting your journey flipping cars, or if you're a dealer yourself, these tips pretty much can be used by everybody. But I definitely recommend it for the beginners. Learn some of these things that I'm going to tell you guys, learn your strong points, and then move forward. But before we get into the video, 97% of you guys are not subscribed. Please click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. I am now posting a video every single week. I got you guys on my calendar. I made 4 videos ahead of time, so I'm gonna be posting all the time. And if you can, please smash the like button. The almighty gods of the YouTube algorithm will not reward us with more viewers like yourself if we don't click that button. So please, once more, I will shamelessly plug this. Click the like button if you've learned something, and let's get into the video. Okay guys, car flipping. Now, flipping cars is 50% knowledge and 50% luck. And if anybody else tells you different, they're full of shit. So, you want to build a good foundation of knowledge. You need to know as much as you can about cars, repairs, and other things that we're going to go over in this video to give you a strong foundation. But a lot of it, like I said, is luck and determination. You need to be out there constantly beating the streets, looking online and other things like that. So we're going to go over a few of the tips, but before I do, you need to sit down and figure this out for yourself. One thing you need to ask yourself is, why do you want to flip cars? Do you like the fact of maybe just buying cars, fixing them up, and then selling them again? Or do you just like the fact of maybe buying something and selling it? Or would you like to buy broken down projects, fix them up and bring them back? Now, the reason I'm asking you guys to ask yourselves these questions is because there are many different types of ways to flip. There is no right way, there is no wrong way. There's short term, long term, mid term. There's a bunch of different ways. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is quick flips. Now, there are a lot of dealers out there that do really quick flips. They just buy something, don't even do anything to it, and sell it to either another broker, dealer, wholesaler, stuff like that. Because even when you're flipping cars, believe it or not, you could sell those things to car dealerships. If you get it at a good price, and let's say you bought a car for $2 grand and you know it's worth 3.5, you could maybe wait a month and try to see if you could sell it for $3 grand, or you can just sell it for $2,500 to a dealer and he'll pay you really quickly because he could retail it for $35 or $39.95 plus tax, title, and fee and everything else, and he'll get $1,000 down on that car, where you have to wait for a cash buyer to come. So some people like to do quick flips. Then you have the next level, which is people that are a little bit mechanically inclined. So if you tend to be mechanically inclined, you buy some cars with maybe some minor cosmetic issues, maybe a little bit of mechanical issues, stuff that's not running right, maybe a check engine light's on. You go through, you fix it up, you just do the bare minimum, clean it up, and then you put it up for sale. Now, if you're doing this type of flipping, right off the bat, you cannot live in an apartment complex. I know this sounds bad because I hear a lot of people, oh, well, I flip cars from my apartment complex. The last thing you want to do is buy 2 cars, get 2 great deals, and next thing you know, your HOA tows your cars out of there. If you want to start getting more into the mechanical end, rent a house, or if you have an apartment complex where you can rent a parking spot, please do so. Make sure that you can ask them if the plates are not on it, if it's okay to be parked there. So these are some of the things, like I said, that you need to ask. Now, the third one is heavy mechanical. There are some mechanically inclined people that enjoy working on cars. And, if you want to buy cars maybe with a blown head gasket, timing belt issues, maybe the transmission needs to be swapped, something of that nature where it's more mechanically inclined work that needs to be done, you need to have either a house, a shop, a garage, something along that nature. So as you're sitting here thinking to yourself, why do you want to get into the rental car business? This will hopefully steer your path, because if you are a mechanic and you're mechanically inclined, I always recommend starting a shop first and perfecting your skill. If you want to do it the other 2 ways, I recommend you start flipping cars, but eventually go get a dealership first, because if you try to learn mechanical for too long, you're just going to be way behind the button. It's better just to hire a mechanic, open up a shop, and get started that way. So after you've done some soul searching and you figured out which type of flipping you want to do, that's when we sit down and we figure out what is your niche. Now, I tell everybody, when you first start flipping, don't go out and buy a Mercedes, then buy a Hyundai, then buy a Toyota, and then, you know, try to get something that, you know, that you're good at. So let's say your first car was a Honda Civic and you love Honda Civics and you know how they work, you know how everything functions, you're very familiar with this type of vehicle. I recommend starting with those vehicles first. You know, get something you're comfortable with, something that you know if right away you could tell if there's something wrong. If you don't know a lot of mechanics, don't buy anything that you're not too familiar with. Because I've seen people where, you know, like a timing belt in the Honda is very simplistic, it's not very hard, you can get it done in 2 to 3 hours. Where if you get a some of these other V6s and other vehicles where it's 2 different timing belts, or sometimes it's 1 timing belt with a chain interlinked. If you don't know how those things work, or also if the head is interference or non-interference head, you don't know if a bad timing belt could be a head job, or it could be a motor swap, or it could be just adjusting the timing and setting the timing belt back on place. You don't want to get into that. You're going to lose a lot of money before you learn everything. So just stick to the very basics. Now, if you're a mechanic, I recommend doing the same thing. If you've worked a lot on Hondas or you worked a lot on Fords, stick to the cars that you're used to. Build kind of a rapport. When I first started flipping cars, I made the mistake. One minute I was buying an old Lincoln, then I was buying a Hyundai, then I went and bought a Honda and a Toyota. And I remember little by little, I was buying these specialty tools for everything. I was buying timing chain holders. I was buying, you know, metric and standard socket sets. I was getting more and more stuff. And, you know, back then we didn't have Mitchell on Demand. It was Mitchell books. So I was actually buying Mitchell books to learn about all these different cars, you know, and I wasted a lot of time and a lot of money. But right around my second year of flipping, you know, I was probably around 18, 19, I started doing Fords. That's just something I liked, something that I saw that a lot of people would just get rid of. Once they had a check engine light, once they had issues, they would get rid of it. So I specialized in that. I started buying Focuses, Contours, all these junky cars, and just fixing them and flipping them because I knew them inside and out, and it made my job a lot easier. Now, not to beat on that horse too much, but basically just stick to what you're good at and move on from there. Now, this is the most asked question I get when it comes to flipping cars. Where do I get the deals? How do I buy them? When people see me online doing my videos, how did you get a car that cheap? How did you do this? Blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I said, it's 50% knowledge and 50% luck. You literally have to beat the streets every single day when you first get into the car industry. So, you know, everybody knows Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. You know, I start recommend talking to some of your small dealerships. A lot of the small dealerships don't have mechanics. You might be able to get a good deal on maybe an older car that the banks can't finance. A lot of dealers have older cars, let's say a 2000 Chevy Impala. It's an older car, it's a good car, but they can't sell it on their dealership because most banks will not finance something that old. So you can go in there and buy it from them. So start building relationships with small dealerships in your area. You know, franchise stores, probably not. They won't sell to you because you don't have a dealer's license. Or if you do have a dealer's license, definitely go to them. The next one, it's one of my favorites, is title loan stores. Every time you drive around, you see companies like Title Max and Cash, check cashing places and all these other stuff that all do these title loans. A lot of these individual companies are individually owned. So all you gotta do is knock on the door. Hey, I'm a local car broker. I wanted to see if you guys had any cars for sale. You know, go in there, meet them, and start buying cars. Build a relationship. Now, I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is not something that happens right away. I've had a lot of places where I had to go back and back and back, give them donuts, say hello, learn their pets' names, their friends' names, because this is a long-term game. If you're not in this to do it for a long term, don't even waste your time, because it takes a long time to develop a system, to develop connections and stuff like that. You hear me talk about it in a lot of my other videos. Once you build a network, your car flipping gets much, much easier. So start off with the title loan store. Next thing you want to go to is pawn shops. Pawn shops pawn cars all the time. It's a very big thing. So I would go to all your local pawn shops. Ask them, hey, look, I'm a local car buyer. I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. Give me a call if you have any cars for pawn. Also ask them, if they don't do auto pawn, if anybody has a car and they're looking to pawn it or sell it, have them contact you and you will give them a finder's fee. It's another great way to make some backside money with getting new customers in from their existing clientele. So I've gotten some really amazing deals out of pawn shops, but a lot of people don't think about that. Another fun one, especially if you do not have a dealer's license, is your local tow yards. Now, every tow yard across the United States, by law, has to put out in public notices in your newspaper when they're gonna auction off a car. So if you don't know if there's any auctions in your area, all you have to do is go pick up a newspaper. Go to the public notice sections and you'll see right there, public notices will be people that are filing bankruptcy, obituaries, people that died, and then tow yard auctions. Once you become associated with these tow yards, you call them and you set up on your calendar, take out your phone. Okay, you guys have an auction every Thursday? Mark it on your calendar. You guys have an auction every Tuesday? Mark it on your calendar. And you want to start going to these auctions every week to see what you can get. Now, in the first few times, I don't recommend you buy. Just go there just to be a fly on the wall, to learn, to just see how people are bidding, everything else, because I see a lot of people, they get so excited, it's their first time bidding, they start overbidding on cars, and a lot of times they don't know the value of the car. They just see a car and be like, oh man, it must be cheap because I'm buying at the auction, so he's bidding $1,000, I'm gonna bid $1,500. So they bid it up to $1,500. You go home and you find out you can get it on Facebook Marketplace for $1,100. Don't do that. Like I said, first few times when you go to an auction, go there, be a fly on the wall, observe, meet some of these people, because you're going to be other car flippers like you. And you want to be friends with these guys because sometimes you guys need to network to buy cars from other cars. You may have a customer that may want a truck. You just saw that this guy bought a truck and you could say, hey, look, how much do you want to sell that for? If he says, I want to sell it for $3,000, call your client and say, hey, I got a guy that's got a truck for $3,500. If he says yes, he makes his money, you make your little piece of the pie, and the car goes bye-bye. So, there's a lot of different ways to make money as a group. So don't even worry about that. Just, like I said, go there, be a fly on the wall. Another one is a lot of states have public auctions. Now, in the state of Nevada, our public auctions suck. They're ran by dealers and you still have to pay sales tax and all this other crazy stuff. And a lot of times they don't give you titles, they just give you paperwork, so you can't turn around and sell it, a few days later. So, check your state and see which states have public auctions. They're a really great place to get some really great deals. I used to go to one in Washington State and Arizona. They were Catholic charities. Now, a lot of people donate their belongings and items when they pass away. So Catholic Charities is an amazing auction that gets tons of stuff. I go there, I'll buy cars, guns, slot machines, furniture, like all kinds of crazy stuff. Just imagine a big warehouse the size of Walmart full of just people's stuff. Everything's up for sale. So don't get caught up because you will spend a lot of money. Try to focus on the cars, but public auctions are a really great thing. They're hard to find. That's something you have to take a lot of dedication on. Now, you can do one of two things. You can get the phone book and, like I said, look for every tow yard, and then you can also look for every public auction in your area. And if there's none in your area and you're in a desolate rural area somewhere in like the middle of Texas or BFE or wherever, be prepared to travel. Even if you got to go to one of these auctions once a month, you need to get yourself experienced with this type of buying just so you get familiar with it. Another great place to buy cars from are automotive repair shops and auto collision shops. Now, when people bring their cars in for repair, sometimes they don't have the money to fix them. So if you start handing out your business cards to all these local repair shops, hey, I'm a local car broker. If any of your customers are stuck with a repair they can't afford, have them give me a call. I'll buy the car off them. I'll give you a finder's fee, whatever the case may be. Or if they owe money on a repair, I'll pay it and take the car back. Also, a lot of repair shops and mechanics lien vehicles. So if a customer brings a car into my shop and does not pay the bill, I lien it. I get the title. Now, some auto repair shops and some body shops don't like to sell cars. They just want to fix cars. That's where you come in. You come in and say, hey, look, you ever get this? Let me be your first call. I'll give you the best offer. And I always recommend, even if it's a car you don't want, the first few times, buy everything. You'll start building that relationship. But go in there, offer your services, tell them you want to buy the cars. That's another place that a lot of people don't check out, so make sure you check on that one. And the one last way to find cars is to actually work with the owners of the vehicles. Now, you don't have to buy every car to sell a car. A lot of people don't know social media, they don't know how to do marketing. I get probably 30 calls a day of people wanting me to, drop their cars off at the dealership for me to sell them, to represent them. Once you become a professional broker, or if people know that you're a car guy, they will give you cars. So, if you're watching this video and you're like, man, I got $500, I don't have 10 grand for a car, I don't have $100,000 to flip a Ferrari, you don't need any of that. All you gotta do is say, hey, look, I am a local car broker. Give me your car, I'm gonna take some good pictures, I'm gonna post it for you, and I'm gonna market it for you. Another way you can do it is if you're mechanically inclined, go up to these people, you'll see them on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. Car ran great, fuel pump died, $1,000 the best offer. You may only have $300 in your pocket, but you know that O'Reilly's has that fuel pump for $79. So you call the customer, hey, if I fix your car and I sell it, can I get the difference of whatever we sell it for? Let's say we sell it for $2 grand, I give you $1,200 and I keep the rest. Some people will actually say yes, especially if you have a shop or if you're mechanically inclined. People are more than happy because now they have a chance to sell their vehicle running and driving. I've gotten cars where you can get $2 grand and buy one car, or you can put $500 down on four cars, or excuse me, $500 down on 4 cars for repairs, and now you got, 4 cars to sell, and it gives you that much more advantage as far as making your money make more money. So as far as being a professional broker, there's more options out there for you. Even if you don't have your dealer's license, that's okay. You can get started with just a little bit, but once you get your foot in the ground and you know that's something you want to do, I highly recommend you getting your broker's license. Okay, tip number 3. We just talked about where to buy the cars. Now I'm going to tell you how, why, and where and when to buy the cars. And all that includes one thing: every day, all day, twice on Sunday. What I mean by that is, remember I told you, like I said, it's 50% knowledge and 50% luck? It is totally true. Most of the car flippers I knew were lazy as hell. They would go work 3-4 hours a day. They would get online, look at a car, lowball the hell out of everybody, and if nobody said yes, they would just go home and go to bed and call it a day and wake up the next morning, do the exact same thing. But you, as a newbie, you're gonna have a little bit more time, you're gonna have a little bit more desire. You need to make sure that you're constantly looking at Facebook, OfferUp, Let It Go, eBay, Craigslist, these tow yard auctions. You need to look at this stuff every day, all day. And one thing I'm gonna tell you right now, if let's say you have $10,000 to flip cars or $2,000 to flip cars, you take that money out of the bank and you always keep it at your house. Because I'm telling you, you'll get more deals after 6 p.m. than you will during the day. Now, during the day, there's some small advantages. If let's say you're not working right now, you have more time to get to the people than the people that are flipping after hours. But now you're dealing with professional flippers. Now the professional flippers have more money. So you may be able to get there before them, but they may not take your lowball offer because the professional flippers will actually have more money to throw down on it. Now, after 5, 6 o'clock, there are no more professional brokers. They usually are sitting at home, not doing anything. They're off at 5 o'clock. Now you run into people just like yourself. People that are just getting in industry, people that are doing, flipping on the side. So you need to be really aggressive when it comes to 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I've bought in cars 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Vegas, it's a 24-hour city. We get these tweakers that want to sell their cars to go gamble and drink and party and everything else. So I'll meet them at 2, 3 in the morning, get the title, bring them the cash, get the deal. And I've gotten cars for steal, sometimes 2, 3 in the morning. So not saying it's going to happen in your area, but you need to have that cash on you, always be prepared. And one of my favorite things is the twice on Sunday. Now, every bank is closed on Sundays. There's a few places, like here in Vegas, we do have a few banks that are 24 hours, 7 days a week. So, but I like to buy on Sundays because Sundays, People are watching football, they're going to church, they're relaxed, and the best thing is the banks are closed. If you have the money in your pocket, you have the power. I can't tell you how many times we drive around on a Sunday afternoon and a deal pops up on, let's say, Facebook. If you don't get there within the first 10 minutes, you don't have to worry about it because it's still going to be there. You know, Vegas is a very competitive city. There's a lot of people that are literally just doing this refresh, refresh, refresh. They see the card, they go buy it. You know, I don't know how your area is going to be, but that's the way we are. So I was constantly running around trying to buy stuff. So make sure you have the money ready and you go out and you start looking for cars, because most days you have a lot of people to compete with, but on Sundays people are going to church, watching football. Most professional dealers are sitting on their couches not really doing anything. So this gives you an opportunity to go out and chase as many deals as you possibly can, because on Sunday there's going to be a lot of people out there making offers, but they don't have the cash to do it. So if you have a chunk of cash sitting at home and you can't go shopping during the day, I would really recommend trying to wait till about Sunday and go out on Sunday and spend all of Sunday shopping for your vehicle if you only can do one day. But if, like I said, you want to get, you know, as much money as you can and flip as many cars as you can and grow as fast as you can, you need to be out there every single day, like I said, looking online, talking to your people that are in your network, the dealers, the pawn brokers, title loan companies, mechanics, other car brokers. Start talking to these people all the time, every day. Work on trades, work on other types of flips. Just get yourself totally immersed in the lifestyle and just keep going out there, and you'll definitely see dividends. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is recon. Now, recon, you hear me say this term a lot. It means repairs or you know, stuff you're doing to the vehicle to make it sell worthy. So once again, if you are not a mechanic, don't go out and buy junked up cars. I don't care if your best friend is a mechanic. Unless you have a deal worked out or you have some extra cash lying on the side to pay a real mechanic to fix your car, don't start off that way. I really recommend people starting out with something that they can do. So one of my best students, he's a local detailer here in town. His name's Manny. Shout out if you're watching this. He saw that I was flipping cars because he comes and he details them for me all the time. And he's like, well, I'd like to get into that, but he goes, I can't ever get a good deal because, you know, I don't know how to work on cars, you know, and I can't fix them. And I was like, you don't have to. There's so many cars out there that are ugly, that are not pretty, that are completely nasty, that you could take advantage of. So, you know, he went out, he started buying cars that were faded paint, yellow headlights, dirty interiors, you know, and Manny's a professional. He would shampoo the seats, arm roll everything, make it look beautiful on the inside. He would spend 2 to 3 hours polishing the car, finessing the whole thing in and out, making it look brand new, polishing the headlights. Now, one thing I'll tell you, you can make a car mechanically sound, and if it's ugly, people will not buy it. So you can have a 80,000 mile car with faded paint and they'll be like, no, it's ugly, I don't want it. Or you can have a 200,000 mile car with like pristine paint and interior, and they'll always buy that one because it looks pretty. So Manny took advantage of his skill set. He's a very good detailer. So now the cars that he buys, he looks for people that take bad pictures, which we'll talk about here in the next segment. You know, he focuses on just cleaning them up and making them look good. So a lot of people are not professional flippers. They don't think of these things. It's just like when you look at these real estate shows like Flip This House. I can't tell you how many people don't take the time to clean out their cars, to take pictures of them, to put them on there. Like I said, which we'll talk about more. I won't go into that one too much. But the gist of this one is, you know, specialize what you're good at. So if you know how to fix cars, this will be more for you guys. Once you get into this, you need to go out and get a general, you know, small business license for automotive repair. You need to start setting up fleet accounts with AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Pep Boys, Napa. There's a lot of local companies in your area that rebuild power steering pumps, alternators, starters. Get accounts with junkyards, stuff like this, because you will see as you start to go through that 20 to 30% off of every item will save you a lot of money down the road. So, you know, and it'll help you keep track of some of the things we talk about. If you look at some other videos, I actually write on the windshields what I bought the car for, what I think it's going to sell for, and how much money I'm going to put in recon. And I hit that number and I don't stop. So when I mean hit that number, you need to make sure that every car you buy has a little bit of a built-in buffer for profit. You know, you don't want to fix yourself out of making money. I've seen a lot of people do it. They buy a car, well, I'm just gonna put new tires on it. Well, I'm just gonna put new brakes on it. Well, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do that. Next thing you know, they have $2,000 wrapped up into a $2,000 car. You can't do that. Start off with safety first. Anytime you buy a car, I'm telling you right now, you do safety first. You do the brakes, you do the tires, you know, anything that has to do with steering linkage or anything like that, you do that stuff first. After that, you work on, if you're in emission state, emissions. If it has a check engine light for an O2 sensor, replace the O2 sensor. I don't care if the tail light's cracked, if the windshield has a crack in it. As long as the car passes emissions and the car is safe, people will buy it. You can always do that stuff later on down the road. You don't want to spend the money on the wrong things. Now, in some of my videos, you'll see me. I'll say, hey, I got $600 for recon on this particular vehicle. I'll spend $300 on safety, emissions. Next thing you know, I'm like, wow, I have $300 left over. I can either keep that in my pocket or I could turn around and use that money to do something else for the car. So if I'm looking at it, Vegas, it's a hot place here. I usually like to tint the windows in the summer because if you tint the windows, it makes the car look a little bit cooler. More people are more likely to, you know, pay for it. Or, you know, I'll ask my friend Manny, hey, how much to shampoo the inside of the seats and make it beautiful? He may say $100. I'll put that money back in there because I know the first person that steps into the car, even though it's a used car, it's immaculate inside and out, and I'll get that extra money that I'm asking for. If you want to go for all the retail money, you want to fix it up as nice as you can, but you need to learn that balancing act. So if you're not a mechanic, don't worry about it. Buy the cars that you think you can do. If you're pretty good with a scrub brush, you can polish headlights, you can polish paint. You could do minor tune-ups, stick to that until you learn a little bit more or until you get a mobile mechanic on retainer. If you're a tech, like I said, start looking at these cars, seeing what you can buy, set up those fleet accounts, you know, and just like I said, focus on your general area. Okay guys, this is the last tip of the day, and this one is my favorite. This is marketing and selling of your vehicle. Now, I've seen so many people go through all these steps, take all this time, all this effort, and screw it up on the last step. Now, you heard me talk about, you know, people not taking good pictures. I can't tell you how many cars I've bought off of, you know, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace with shitty pictures. That's probably the biggest thing I see. So when you're getting ready to sell a car, I don't care if it's a $2,000 bucket or a $70,000 luxury car. You take that thing, you clean it, you polish it, you do as much as you can to it. And on top of that, once you're done with all that, go to a nice area. I have parking lots all over town that I know of. I know nice areas where there's some nice bushes in the background. Drive to a beautiful place and take a picture. It's not that hard, and it pays massive dividends when you go to sell the car. If the car is clean and you're in a nice area and the car is reflecting off of whatever you see there, it puts a mental image in people's minds of saying, okay, this car is well taken care of. It's in a good place. It's maybe by a good owner, or they're a professional person that's actually looking to sell this vehicle. When I look at these pictures and it's like they're in a really dirty apartment complex or a parking lot, there's garbage and food and kids' bikes leaned up against their car, you know, like how do you take pictures of your car when there's McDonald's bags and dog food everywhere? You know, I've seen nasty used diapers in the back of minivans. You would not believe people don't give a shit when it goes to selling cars. So when it comes to marketing, those cars, believe it or not, you lowball the hell out of them. You could buy them, get a detailer or detail it yourself, and you could probably make $300 to $500 just like that, just from cleaning it up and making nice pictures and making it presentable. But that's the very first thing. Take really, really good pictures. The next thing, you know, take the time to learn about the vehicle. Every car has something special and unique about it, even an old Buick. There's ways you can talk about it that make it sound really well. So what I always like to do is I call it the complimentary sandwich. Now, some people know this as the shit sandwich, complimentary sandwich. You say some of the good, you say some of the bad, and then you follow it up with some of the good. So you want to say, hey, this is a great car, but it's got maybe, you know, faded paint, or maybe it's got a little bit of surface rust, but it's a solid transportation car. You always want to word that in there because you want to be honest. If you say, hey, look, folks, this is a great car, it's a little ugly, but it'll get you from A to B. If you say that and you put that in the ad and be very transparent, it will help you immensely when it goes to selling it. I can't tell you all these freaking shady car flippers, because these are the guys that give us the bad name. It runs and drives great. It was my grandma's car. And then you get there, the guy's name's nothing like the person. The car that he said ran and drove great is a piece of crap. It's leaking water. The pictures he used online are not of the car, which don't ever do that. There's a lot of people out there that do that. Take pictures of the actual damn car. You know, and just go through everything and just like I said, be as honest as you can. But as you learn about that car, hey, this Buick is a great car. It's a 3.8 liter V6, one of the most dependable motors that are ever made. Cost of maintenance is extremely low. You should definitely buy this car. If it's got a turbo, hey, this thing is a 2.0 turbo, 195 horsepower, 200 pound-feet of torque. You get all this horsepower with 27 miles per gallon. Isn't that amazing? You know, throw some funny stuff out there. I always like to put stuff, you know, like, hey, this will get you from A to B, but not from C to D. Or, you know, this is a great car, but if you're, you know, if your girlfriend's too fat, it'll only take you downhill, not uphill. Anything that kind of like brings some spark into that, you can. Only do it if your personality is kind of cheesy and you're funny, because then it'll work. But if not, you'll just look like an asshole. But I recommend doing stuff like that just so, like I said, just remember, complimentary sandwich or the shit sandwich. Tell the truth, something good. Be honest again, but be brutal honest. Hey, there's some bad stuff, some surface rust, but it's a great car, clean title, low miles. As long as you do that in every ad, you should be fine. Also, make sure you're spending money on your marketing. Now, when I do ads on Facebook, I'm going to recommend you guys doing getting a page. So if you want to be a professional broker or in the automotive industry, put, you know, like my name is, let's say your last name is Smith. My name is John Smith Auto Brokering. You get that page, and once you post on your page, you can share it on Facebook Marketplace for $5. Now, the reason I say do it for $5 is because you already pop up there, but you'll stay up there and you'll constantly be floating up there. And once people see you, they'll follow you and you always have new deals. So get that going, offer up, it's $5 per car. Don't be a cheap ass. It's $25 a month to get the premium package so you can boost your ads. Plus you put $5 every single car. Make sure you do that as well. Let It Go just merged with OfferUp, so now you don't have two of those, you just have the one. Craigslist in Nevada, it's kind of dying. It may be busy in your area, but post that up. Also, talk to some of your local repair shops, dealers, stuff like that. Being a broker doesn't mean you have to sell to the general public. You sell to anybody that wants to buy the car. So talk, like I said, to shops, to dealerships, to other brokers, to other people in different states. You may have a very nice niche and maybe used trucks. You're in a good spot where there's no rust, there's no snow, and you could buy trucks and sell them to people in the Midwest where there's snow everywhere and everything is rusted out. You know, there's a million ways you can make money when it comes to flipping cars. Just focus on which one, like I said, that is best for you. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody. We just hit 7,000 subscribers. We're on pace to hit 10,000 before the end of this year. If that happens, I'm going to do a really special video. I'm going to do something crazy. I won't say what it is, but I'll show you. If you can, put something in the comment section. I don't care if it's toast, tacos, pickles, say a funny joke. If you want to ask me any questions, please do it in the comment section below. I personally answer every single one of the questions. Nobody on my staff, just me, myself. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram at automotive.life. I post there every day and I do a lot of funny stories. We actually got one right now where we're doing car commercials with a puppet, and the puppet is really crude and says bad stuff. I won't give it away, but definitely funny. Definitely stay tuned for that one. Once again, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I truly appreciate it. Click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, because I am posting every week now, like clockwork. Once again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you out there.